of America.
Now, it's time for those four crazy truckers to deliver you an hour of news, interviews, and entertainment for your listening pleasure. It's the Independent Truckers, right here at the Truckers Independent Broadcasting Network, with your host, Princess Sally, Mr. Rock and Roll Sean Mitchell, Lisa the Spoiled Squirrel Schrott, and John Grosvenor. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Independent Truckers, right here at the Truckers Independent Broadcasting Network. Absent with us today would be Lisa the Squirrel Schrott and Princess Sally. Did not make it in. I guess Lisa's not feeling so well this evening, and so we're hoping that she starts feeling better soon. Definitely don't want her to have to come down with anything detrimental, right, Sean?
I would agree.
Sean's wishing ill will. He's going, I hope she's sick for a week. No, he wouldn't do that.
I don't wish no bad health on nobody.
No. So let's see. Where did we start tonight, Sean? We got some sad news. I guess we probably start there. Let people know. I'm sure you've seen it in CDL Life or other places, but very very much trucker famous. Advocate in trucking and representative to the trucking industry, knew the industry drivers and such. Dave McMillan from Smart Trucking Magazine has passed away as of August 15th. I guess it just recently got released, so that news has been making its round. David was a very interesting character. I liked him. I liked him a lot. I thought he was an awesome people. I had an opportunity to talk to him on the phone at times, a very long time ago. No time recent, but really good guy. He's going to be missed. A little background on Dave. Dave was a founder of the Smart Trucking Magazine, by the way. Him and his wife, Kathy, had started that thing in 2011 and done a really excellent job with it. So Dave was a 50-year veteran of the trucking industry, over 5 million miles behind him, fulfilling the childhood dream in the 1990s. He co-owned a trucking company with Kathy. After easing into semi-retirement, Dave, Kathy, and eventually their son Nick founded the highly popular YouTube channel Smart Trucking, dedicated to mentoring and supporting truck drivers. Through thousands of videos, live streams, blog posts, interviews, articles, and newsletters, Dave became a powerful advocate for the professional truckers, tackling issues like driver pay, safety, and working conditions. His voice was respected across the industry, earning him the title of Voice of the Trucker. He wasn't afraid to address contentious topics others shied away from, and he was passionate about improving the trucking industry for drivers everywhere. Dave believed that being a professional truck driver was a privilege and reminded his trucking community of the immense responsibility that comes with the role. His impact extended globally, touching the lives of drivers in Canada, the U.S., Australia, New Zealand, Japan, the U.K., Europe, Norway, Sweden, Alaska, Hawaii, and beyond. So, yeah, man. He was covering us in when we did Operation Black and Blue in 2017. That's when I had the opportunity to speak to him. He liked a lot of our take on things, and you know, our what do we call it, the truckers Bill of Rights. And so, yeah, man, the community's gonna miss Dave. Very very nice guy, as I said, and you know, I guess it's hope he rests well, and hope his family, you know, prayers for him and his family and all of his loved ones and friends, and condolences. So we do have a storm, Sean, hurricane out there in the Gulf of Mexico. Looks to me like it's still in the Gulf. Here, I'm looking at this update. It's supposed to be live updates, and for some reason it's not expanding, but yeah, it's I was just looking at it here a moment ago, but it's still in the Gulf of Mexico, due to hit shore. on the eastern side of the Panhandle, right at Tallahassee. Run up through Georgia, right on through Atlanta. You're not down there, are you? Right? You're not going that way.
Not yet.
Lucky you, and it's going to come up there and just blast right into Tennessee, right over Knoxville and Nashville, right over my good friend Todd McKinley's place. So,
Well, I'm sure Todd will appreciate all the weather.
hopefully, time when he gets up there, it's Cat 4 right now. So, hopefully, time when it makes landfall, he'll reduce some in power. And time when he gets up there through Georgia and stuff, keeps reducing, hopefully. I mean, but yeah, man, if you got loved ones and such down there, I mean, just in general, say your prayers for them, and hope the best for those folks down there, because hurricanes are a no joke. They
They're
can really
nothing to
make
play with.
No, they are not.
I saw
So,
a video today of that storm coming through, how it was actually affecting some of the trucks on bridges. It's not a very easy, it's not something you want to go through.
oh, to roll a truck over outside in a heartbeat, all them wind speeds. You're talking about Cat 4, 30 to 156 mile an hour winds.
It's a whole different ball game than Tuesday when the Swift driver decided to go over the bridge in Louisville.
Oh, you're making that up. No Swift driver would ever go over a bridge.
Well, let's just say part of it was hanging off the bridge.
Are you talking about that one way back when, or are you talking about recently?
No, this was Tuesday.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that wasn't a Swift driver previously, but I think that was Kentucky too, wasn't it? The other one that
Yeah.
some four wheeler or something hit him and ran him off.
That's exactly
Off
what
the bridge.
happened. Of course, I'm
Yeah,
sure
what
that
happened
was
to that Swift driver too.
I'm sure that was something to open up the driver's door and see nothing but water way down below.
You don't slip. Yeah, it's
And
gotta
you
be
watch
fun.
that step.
Yeah, first one's a doozy, I tell you.
So, speaking of steps, John, I hear the FMCSA's taking a few steps these days.
Oh, we got a few things on the FMCSA. Where are we here? Not that one, not that one. This one. FMCSA allows another exemption for flashing brake light system. That one?
That's
That's
one
what
of
you
them.
talk. Yeah, one of them. Oh, they got quite a few things in the Federal Register. In fact, I found this in the Federal Register, but I got the article you sent me right now. What is this? Landline article. Flashing brake light system has gotten the green light from the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. In a notice that was published in Federal Register on Monday, September 23rd, which was my granddaughter's birthday, FMCSA announced its decision to allow Encore Flooring and Building Products commercial motor vehicles to operate with a system manufactured by IntelliStop. The exemption will remain in effect until September 24, 2029. Yeah, okay, yeah, 5 years. The IntelliStop module is designed to pulse and required rear clearance identification of brake lamps from a lower level lighting intensity to higher level lighting intensity 4 times in 2 seconds when the brakes are applied, and then return the lights to a steady burning state while the brakes remain engaged. By steady burning state, I'm going to assume that's brake level, let you know. Instead, the head agency has approved several individual motor carriers exemption. FMCSA also granted exemption to Gemini Motor Transport in May and another to DJS fundraising in June. According to the notice, FMCSA said the exemption is more limited in scope, will allow the agency to ensure compliance with all relevant regulations because the individual carrier would be easily identifiable. All right, so yeah, I guess we get these weird, kooky brake light systems coming out now, and I don't know. What do you think about that, Sean? I mean, I've seen this before with these braking systems. Ambulances started this, right? So when they hit their brakes initially, it kind of comes on bright, then flickers several times, and then then you just see brake lights and then the flicker again. I mean, what do you think about this? Is this just getting obnoxious, or is it
I
necessary?
think it's getting out. I think it's getting out of hand because what they're doing is they're taking away again, in my opinion, common sense. When brake lights are hit and the bright lights come on, you probably know to slow down. They're
Yeah.
even come to the point now. You notice with Schneider that they've got a amber light in the middle of their trailer, and when the brake light hits, that damn thing actually puts out a beacon going, and the brake lights come on.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of this lately. Garbage trucks have them and all these different ones. It
I
looks
mean,
like you have to.
I could probably go with it with a slow moving vehicle like a garbage truck, being in residential areas.
Okay, but how do you think about? See, years ago they were supposed to do studies on headlights and stuff, and I don't even have the chats opened up here. Darn it! Oh, Stephen Kendrick said he's on his way to South Carolina. I'm going to see what it brings him. We wish you the best of luck, bro. Hopefully you'll be east enough from you just get some of them outer bands. It won't be too bad for you. Lighting, how it affects the eyes, and that's what gets me about these lights. Because now we had normal lights, incandescent lights on cars, and they were a little dim. Then they created these halogen lights that were a lot brighter. People could see better. And then they started coming out with these LED lights, these lights with blue light in them, and all these different lights. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but years ago, I noticed how they start to irritate your eyes as you're coming onto headlights like this. Some of it too is out of adjustment. It's like that guy who loaded up his trunk of his car, and now it's all sagging down in the back, and the headlights are pointing up in at you. But
You mean like those?
well, those aren't blinding me. But they yeah, some and these brake lights are getting the same way with these LEDs and stuff. They're getting kind of irritating because they're excessively bright. Or I mean just the tail lights in general, but the LEDs kind of play wonky on the eyes, I think. I don't think they're it's not like your regular normal just, light bulbs. It's I find it's kind of irritating, to be honest with you. Through the years, I've been kind of irritated by them. But then again, truck drivers decided to let you know you were clear to come over. It was a good idea to throw the bright lights in your eyes while you're looking.
Well, not only that, it takes away from your night vision.
Oh yeah, it plays hard on the eyes at night.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize that just from military training and anybody that's been in through any type of boot camp, uh, just a simple cigarette lighter that'll take at nighttime. That takes up to 30 seconds for your night vision to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, it can yeah, your eyes do. I tell you, man, I've noticed it, doing night driving. A lot of us truck drivers notice that. Dealing with the headlights passing you constantly one after another, and you're always trying to adjust. I don't know about you, but I always, when a car's coming at me or another truck's coming at me, I look kind of down and to the right, look for that line on the
Hmm.
right, and try to keep my eyes from getting direct contact. I'm keeping track of them. I can see them, but I don't want to be looking directly into their lights. So that's commonly what I do to try to avoid all the um, eye strain at night.
Well, and if you remember, we were taught that if somebody's driving towards you with their brights on and they refuse to dim, you're supposed to look slightly to the right anyway.
Yeah, yeah, to avoid getting it directly in your retinas.
It's going to screw up your night vision, but at least you're not looking directly at the light.
Yeah.
But
Let's see.
modern
Old school
technology
cats in here.
dictates modern technology dictates what we do nowadays.
Oh, okay. Cat says Grondike received a 5-year exemption for the same thing in 2019. Their research showed 34% less rear end accidents to their truck. I can imagine with the flashing lights, it does catch people's attention. So beacons, for airplanes, they got those. You see those red lights flashing at night up in the air, on top of
Yeah.
a tower or something, or a very high building, and usually they have antennas up there and they put the flashing lights up there for the airplanes so they know it's there as they're flying at night. They don't go crashing into an antenna or something and have an accident and tear stuff up and get killed. But they can't have a steady flash. If they just sit there and flash monotonously, then it's hypnotic, right? So my understanding, they're supposed to have like a what's it called, inconsistent. It's like it'll be like 1, 2, 3. take a break, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 sort of thing. So it's breaking it up a little bit so you don't get transfixed on it. You become more aware of it. So I guess the brake lights might do something like that. I just think it's getting irritating. It's like the cop lights. He's got somebody pulled over on the shoulder of the road. They're taking 25% of the lane up, and you can't see anything because his lights are being seen from outer space. And you're sitting right up on him, It's like x-rays through the eyes or something. Do they have to be that bright? Do we have to see them from the other side of the globe?
That's pretty much the way they look nowadays.
Yeah. I get it for safety and everything, but if you can't see, you're going to crash into them.
I mean, everything's lit up. I get the idea. It'd probably be a good idea to maybe grab a couple gears, even hit the brake, But some of them are just they're just getting plain ridiculous with it. Of course, then again, I look at some of today's drivers we have. I mean, really, who runs with their cruise control during bad ice storms?
You're not supposed to run with your cruise control on during a blizzard at a high rate of
Well,
speed.
apparently when
Downhill.
Celadon was in, yeah, apparently when Celadon was in business, they were told to conserve fuel. So in an ice storm, yeah, the driver actually put his cruise control on, and that's what got Celadon in trouble.
Oh, that'll do it. You start getting a couple of accidents and it comes down on you.
So once again, common sense did not prevail.
No. So I guess they're trying to. What are they trying to do here? I started to read this a little bit earlier, but it's the ICR what's it called? I know the information collection request to the OMG. It's what the FMCSA is trying to do. Is a information collection request regarding the mandated pilot program for 21 and under 20 and under truck drivers. And they're asking for comments. I don't know if anybody's interested in making any comments on this or reading it through. I don't know if I want to go in detail on it. It's kind of lengthy. I assume they're probably wondering what improvements need to be made on it. But what I'll do here is drop it in the comments section and let folks kind of pick that one apart themselves. If you want to make comments on this and if you got thoughts to the FMCSA regarding the apprenticeship agency information collection activities renewal of an approved information collection request, Safe Driver Apprenticeship Driver Program is what it's titled. So yeah, you might want to make your comments about it if you have any thoughts or something to share with them regarding that matter.
I know
What
it's
else
the
we got?
FMCSA, but please be respectful.
Do I have to?
You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, John.
No, you're making a good point. The comments with derogatory language and meaning in them doesn't get read. They just get disregarded. They don't take you seriously if you're going to make snide remarks and use a lot of foul language and undertones of hatred. They kind of kick those comments out. And there's a lot of truck drivers think they don't read a lot of comments anyway. They already know what they want. They're just going to go through the process of taking the comments because they're legally obligated to do it. So what do we got here?
There's
You ever
also an
seen-
update on. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
There was also an update on the your PSP rating. What they're wanting to do now. The FMCSA was actually voted. They actually voted to do this. When you pull that article up, this was actually provided by our vast unpaid resource team. That during now while you're doing a pre-screen, before they could ask for your PSP report. Now with the new regulations, even while you're working for that company, they can still pull your PSP.
Huh.
So in other words, you could drive for a company for 6 months They weren't pulling PSPs. Now they can.
I thought they could before. It is a
Well, they probably
pre-screened
could.
program, but
Well, that's the whole thing, and that was the reason with the article is before they would pull it just like they would pull a BMV, which they could pull your BMV at any time.
oh, hey Brandon, how you doing, bud? Um, yeah, I
Oh, is
always thought
that
they
the
could even with
Brandon?
PSP. Yeah, it's the Brandon. It's your buddy from Texas.
Hey, rock on, Brandon.
He says he is good. Glad to hear it.
So, but yes, now they can pull it at any time. Um, there's a little bit more into that article. You'll have to read into it, but that I believe that came from CDL Life.
So the FMCSA announces this decision to grant a 5-year exemption to Oregon Department of Transportation from the commercial driver's license rules concerning acceptable proof of citizenship. Don't freak out yet. That doesn't mean every Haitian and Venezuelan is going to get a, CDL license, if I remember correctly on this one. Let's see, acceptable proof of citizenship or lawful permit residency for citizens of freely associated states who reside in Oregon and wish to obtain a CDL or commercial learner's permit. The FAS freely associated states are a federated states of Micronesia, the Republic of Marshall Islands, and the Republic of Palau. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security allows states to issue full-term real ID licenses and ID cards to citizens of the FAS. The exemption allows Oregon to accept from citizens of the FAS a valid unexpired passport issued by an FAS and an arrival departure record, meaning an I-94 or I-94A form as proof of lawful entry into the United States. Keyword there, lawful entry. Unlike our southern border where just any jackwagon can come across.
Who would do such a thing?
And issue standard CLPs and CDLs rather than non-domiciled CLPs and CDLs to these individuals. FMCSA concludes that granting the exemption subject to the terms and conditions set forth below is likely to achieve a level of safety equivalent to or greater than the level of safety that would be obtained absent the exemption. I don't know, man. I saw a pretty interesting video on that when it comes to this asylum seeking, as they like to call it, which I fail to understand how this falls under the definition of asylum seeking. But you ever see those motels where they got the signs turned around and all they got is the white backing out now? You don't see like Best Western or whatever, the name of the motel, XYZ, overnight stay or whatever they want to call it. You don't see that anymore. It's not facing, the signs turned inward towards the lights. Or you'll see signs that are covered up. You ever see that in your travels?
I've seen a few where there's signs it's been completely taken out.
Yeah. They're still occupied, but the signs are taken down. That's because they're occupying them with these immigrants. I discovered recently. I've seen that before, and I go, why would you turn your sign in? Are you out of business? What's going on here? That doesn't make sense. And I'm thinking, well, if it was a chain or something, maybe they're not allowed to display that signage anymore, so they had to turn it around. And it looks better than having the lights just exposed or something stupid like that. But then this guy did this video where he's going through Massachusetts, and they're paying a lot of money for these illegals to stay at these places. Some of these guys are making
interesting.
Like, what, $60,000 a month off from full occupancy that the federal government's paying, which is more than what they would get for renting them out for the night or the week, or the month, or however they would do it to normal people.
Now, I did notice down in Georgia at the 121 exit, there was an old Citgo truck stop. Actually, it used to be a 76, but it became a Citgo. And I used to pull in there because it was big enough parking, and I could get a decent cup of coffee in the morning. There was a motel that was next door to it. The motel and the truck stop have now been fenced off.
It's your audio's not keeping up with your body language. I think you're still saying something.
Sorry.
No, it's all right, man. I mean, you can't help it if it's not.
It's our new system, folks. We'll get it figured out one day.
It's Sean's new phone. That's what it is. I'm blaming it on
You
his
know,
phone.
you know, Allie's not here tonight to keep it in line. That's what it is. Allie and Squirrel are not here tonight.
What's that mean?
That means while the girls are gone, the boys will play.
Oh, well, what's that got to do with the delay?
Well, who knows? Maybe we get more people in here. The delay will go bye-bye.
Oh, I see. So you're blaming it on their absences.
That's exactly what it is. It's their absence of not being here tonight.
Here's one for you. How many times have you seen the FMCSA approve yeah, Brandon says it looks pretty tame to him. we're just warming up, Brandon. You give us a chance. You know, about 10 hours from now, we'll get pretty crazy. We'll be hooting and hollering in here. We'll show you we don't need women to get us started up. So yeah, FMCSA announces its decision to renew exemptions for 15 individuals from the requirement in the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations that interstate commercial motor vehicle drivers have to establish medical history or clinical diagnosis of epilepsy or any other condition which is likely to cause loss of consciousness or any loss of ability to control a CMV. The exemption enable these individuals who have had one or more seizures and are taking anti-seizure medication to continue to operate as CMVs in interstate commerce. I've seen them turn down a lot of exemption requests. I never thought I'd see one for epilepsy ever get approved.
I
That's what
thought
people
that was
are
a
going to work
no-go.
for. Brandon said that sounded bad. Yeah, Cat's saying watch it. We're getting in trouble here, Sean.
I know. Oh, just wait. It's coming.
Well, here's another one for you. Oh, this is another, epilepsy. They announced its decision to exempt 12 individuals from the requirement in the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations that interstate commercial motor vehicle drivers have no established medical history or clinical diagnosis of epilepsy or any other condition which is likely to cause loss of consciousness. But yet they still had seizures. I got it now. So they're not really,
I always thought if you had epilepsy, that was always considered a no-go for a commercial vehicle.
Well, that's what they're saying. They're not necessarily diagnosed with epilepsy, but they've had seizures in the past.
So they have not been officially diagnosed.
But they've had one or more seizures and are taking anti-seizure medication to operate CMVs. That's an interesting one. Hey, look,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking anybody that's got a chance in life. But I've seen people go down with a seizure, man. There ain't no warning or nothing. When it happens, it happens.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. I mean,
Here's a win for you. FMCSA announces its decision to renew exemptions for 23 individuals from the hearing requirements of Federal Motor Carrier Safety Regulations for interstate commercial motor vehicle drivers. The exemptions enable these hard of hearing and deaf individuals to continue to operate CMVs in interstate commerce. I was just kind of like when I found these, I go, wow, the seizures are controlled by yeah, Kat. That's what they were saying is that they do have to take their medication. But man,
well, I mean, at which
sometimes
time they should.
medications change.
Yeah, well, there's the thing. I mean, they have to show documentation of it somehow, and I'm sure if they get pulled over by DOT, they have to notify the inspecting DOT officer that they are taking this. Correct?
I'm sure it's probably in their license or something, or I don't know. Now that you have to give all your medical information to the state, and they approve you in the DMV level and send that over to the federal level. I don't know. I'm pretty sure because you're being monitored, but it's like a heart patient. You're being monitored by a doctor that I imagine if you stop taking your medication, the doctor's going to be like, "Why didn't you fill your prescriptions? You're not filling your prescriptions. I am going to pull your ability to drive a truck." As I'm sure it's the same thing.
And I'm sure they're not getting a full 2-year physical either. I would assume is not. They're probably maybe getting 6 months or a year on their
Could be.
physical.
I don't know the severity of seizures. I mean, like I said, I've known people that have epilepsy, and I've seen people go down when they have a seizure. And like I said, there's no warning, there's no dizziness. Like, oh, I think I'm gonna have a seizure. I better sit down. Nothing like that. It's like boom, they just go toppling over. They're done. They're laying on the ground and going through the full effects of a seizure. I mean, there's
No,
probably
because
different types because I remember one guy. I'm sorry, I'm going to take that back because I do remember a guy one time. Weird situation. I was pulling an intermodal trailer, blew a tire. Let's see. These are all current variances on the CDO, but these are new people to go on these programs. I assume you're saying this is kind of a new thing now. It's hasn't happened in the past, but now it's kind of new. They're approving them. But no, okay. So I blew this tire on 95 in Maine. And the tire went out into the road and was sitting in the road. A pickup truck come along and kicked up the tire. The tire was spinning around in the air. This guy in a car come by and hit it while it was in the air. So I'm pulling over to inspect damages and stuff to see if I need to be stopped there and put up my triangles or if I'm going to nurse it over to a better place to be parked until I can get the tire fixed. Well, this car that hit that tire pulls in behind me. Well, at the same time, a guy was running with Fritz or something. Yeah, his name was, he went by Fritz, I guess. I forgot where he said he was from. He had a strange accent, but anyway, he pulled in behind me. So that car pulled in behind him. And while I'm looking, this guy steps out and I went over to see what he wanted. And he tells me, well, he hit that tire and I was responsible for it. It turns out to be that his car he owns was in an accident. That one was a rental. Not overly relevant to this. But the point is, as I'm talking to him, all of a sudden he calls his wife and I see him lean against his car. Then I see him go down on his knees. He was having a seizure. So I guess maybe some people, when they do have seizures, there is some forewarning.
There could be a forewarning on some of them. It's been a while since I took any of what I remember from health classes. There used to be 4 main ones that they always worried about.
Yeah. Well, grand mal seizures, nobody's going to drive a truck for sure.
Oh, no. No.
Oh, I see my senator's name here. What's going on here with this businesses to
Yes, that was another one from our vast unpaid research team. They're trying to fixate the fuel costs, John.
for trucks, for small business. New bill could allow small businesses to lock in diesel prices and other commodity costs. Now, I haven't read this article, so we're going to learn this together. A new bill introduced in Senate aims to protect small businesses from volatile commodity prices by allowing them to lock in a set price with gas and diesel prices explicitly included in the proposed legislation. That sounds interesting. On Tuesday, September 17th, Senators Jeanne Shaheen from New Hampshire and Bill Cassidy from Louisiana introduced the. Jeanne Shaheen's a Democrat. Bill Cassidy's a Republican, by the way. Introduced the Helping Small Business to Hedge Risk and Insure Against Volatile Expenses, otherwise known as Helping Small Business Thrive Act. As the title suggests, the bill aims to establish a program that may reduce small business owners' exposure to price volatility of certain commodities, including diesel prices. Through the new program offered by the Small Business Administration, the Helping Small Business Thrive Act, or S5063, would create an opportunity for small businesses to lock in prices of certain commodities according to the bill's text. Gasoline and diesel are the only commodities guaranteed to be included in the program. The SBA would have discretion over what or other commodities to include. The program would include 2 options for small businesses. A futures purchase agreement would allow the SBA to establish and maintain the direct cost of commodity, more relevant to small businesses, trucking companies, or call option purchase agreement would protect a business when the price of the commodity increases by more than 10%. Take diesel prices as an example. Diesel prices have been dropping lately, averaging about $3.50 per gallon nationwide. which is more than $1 cheaper than a year ago. However, that could change at the flip of a switch. Yeah, after an election, leaving uncertainty in future cost planning for a business owner.
Or you mean beginning before an election?
Do what?
It could happen before election too.
Well, commonly presidential election, you see these fuel prices dropping all of a sudden. At least when a Democrat's in office, I think. But for some reason during the election year, then prices drop a lot, and then after the election, it's like, oh well, it's wintertime, and well, energy costs is going up, so there goes your diesel back to $5 a gallon. Screw you very much.
Well, and from what I understand, this bill is supposed to prevent some of that.
So basically, what they're saying is, you as a small business are going to enter into an agreement with the government to lock in the 350 per gallon for 1,000 gallons, 6 months from the agreement. Essentially, the business locks in its diesel expense over that time period at $3,500. You're going to go through 1,000 gallons a lot quicker in 6 months, aren't you, Sean?
I can go through 1,000 gallons very quick.
If diesel prices were to soar to $5 per gallon, the company still would pay $5 at the pump or $5,000 for 1,000 gallons. However, per the agreement, the company would receive a $1,500 payment to offset the $1.50 increase. Thus, through this agreement, the company would plan ahead with certainty, knowing that its diesel expense would be $3,500 under the agreed upon conditions, regardless of diesel price volatility.
I mean, you take a mega care. I don't know what they're considering for small business, but let's just say a man's got 10 trucks, or an individual has 10 trucks, and they each get 100 gallons per tank. Or they get 100 gallons per truck. They just went through 1,000 right there.
Yeah, it's small business is what, 200, was it 25 million? I don't remember what's it. I'll see if I can find it real quick. It's the SBA. I'm trying to recall their definition of a small business. Defines a small business as a for-profit enterprise that meets certain criteria, including ownership. The business is independently owned and operated. Location of the business has a place of business in the U.S. Come on, size is what we're looking for. The SBA's definition of a small business varies by industry. For example, the SBA defines a small business in the convenience store industry as having annual revenue of $32 million or less, while a small business in the department store industry has an annual revenue of $25 million or less. I want to say in trucking it was 25.
Okay, well, if an individual owns 25 trucks, it ain't going to take them nothing to go blow through that 1,000.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at the company that I'm with right now, I'm leased on with. They've got 30 trucks. They'll blow through that in no time flat.
Well, you know what? I'm sitting there reading this, and it's an example, right?
All right.
So, yeah, there's hypothetical showing. So, they're not saying you're restricted to 1,000 gallons. I think they're just giving an example, just for sake of ease.
Okay.
So, we're just confusing things here.
Well, now we don't want to confuse things.
It's not hard to do.
Now, we've already got enough confused out there.
Yeah, I think it was like, I forgot how many trucks, and yeah, I'm not getting to it done too quick here, I'll tell you. I'm sure that's what people want to do, is sit there and watch a guy looking shit up online. Most exciting thing you're going to do all evening. Sit there and watch somebody look something up online. Oh man. What else we got going? Yeah, 500 employees. That's what okay, definition small business manufacturing. That's manufacturing, but 500 employees, $25 million a year. That sounds about right.
Oh, well, here's a little bit of news, John. I've just remembered about um, Evo, Evo Transportation, EVO.
So not evil like Evil Knievel.
Right. Yes, they just bought out another trucking company. And here's another thing that was sent in by our vast unpaid resource team. UPS is starting to get rid. The United States Postal Service has been having to get away from some of the contract carriers.
Oh,
I believe I sent you that article.
USPS network plan includes insourcing of line haul work. That says insourcing. A U.S. Postal Service plan to insource all hauling of mail and parcels between hubs and local delivery units, which had been handled by contractors, will be completely phased in by 2025, according to a source with knowledge of meetings with USPS officials. So they're no longer going to use outside contractors, huh?
Nope,
That's
and that also includes third class mail.
As part of the 10-year Delivering for America Network overhaul plan begin in 2021, contractors are being notified that their services are no longer required and will be handled instead by USPS employees and assets. The services include transport of mail and parcels from area hubs to local post offices for morning delivery, then picking up outbound mail in the afternoon for injection into the system.
Now, my question was this. So does that mean that all these individuals that are helping out the postal hubs, are they going to be eliminated too?
What individuals?
Well, like I had a friend of mine in Indianapolis. He was doing part time. He was using his own car and he was running mail routes, actual mail routes.
Well, they
Does
were.
that mean does that mean they'll be getting rid of them too?
Well, this article says line haul work, so I'd say no. That they may still be outsourcing. I know what you're talking about. You've seen people in their Audi or no their whatever Chevrolet or Honda or whatever, and they're sitting in the passenger seat with their hand on the steering wheel and their foot on the fuel pedal and brake, and trying to run around filling boxes.
Well, that, but I do know that there were, like I said, there was a friend of mine. He used his own car. He bought a car just for that purpose. Yeah, I think that time he only paid like $500 for it, and he was using it strictly for the mail. He would run routes. He would fill in the routes for everybody, especially around the Greenwood area, and that was his afternoon job. Then when he get done with his route, he'd come in, he'd jump in his truck, and he'd run to Chicago. So I'm just curious if they're going to get rid of the mail routes too.
I don't see
Because
it in here.
according to my source on this, they think what started all this is C.H. Robinson was involved in a lawsuit not too long ago because they contracted a load of mail out to an individual without checking out their sources. So nobody knew who was hauling the mail or was hauling for the United States Postal Service. So that's why they were told, pull all the line hauls.
I
But they
think that
think
has a
that's
lot
where
to do
it
with
might have
money.
started.
I think this has a lot to do with money. The cost of outsourcing as opposed to insourcing. I think they feel like they can do it a lot cheaper. Postal Service has been having a lot of hard times keeping themselves financially afloat. But let's see. The USPS said in April its projected loss over the duration of Delivering for America had been cut from $160 billion to $70 billion and affirmed it would reach break even by 2030, despite $3 billion in inflation driven cost increases since 2021. This year, the agency plans to open 4 new regional processing and distribution centers, in addition to one that opened last year since the plan was initiated. Daily capacity has increased to 60 million pieces through installation of new processing machines, the USPS said. And then this article goes on to talk about these businesses that are complaining that they're shutting down now because they're losing their contracts. Trucking 101, don't put all your eggs in one basket, bro. I mean,
And that's what happened to Mitt.
diversification is a thing.
And that's what happened to Midwest and Illinois 3 weeks ago. And another part of it was they started pulling their safety scores when they clicked the red light. They ran the red light up the flagpole, or as I like to say, they ran the tit light up the flagpole that signaled FMCSA. And when they come in and started looking at their records, they shut them down. That was another part of Midwest of what happened.
Yeah.
So they just pulled them quicker than everybody else. Now, the ones they're not having problems with, they're going to have to gradually phase them out. But if they're showing that they've got a habitual problem, then they're going to get rid of them pretty quick.
All right. What else we got going on? What's happening in the world today? Anything political you want to talk about?
Oh, well, let's see. I challenged your friend again to be on Wednesday night. We'll see if he shows up.
He won't be there. Not necessarily my friend, but I know who you're talking about. I mean, we're not enemies either. I mean, I don't dislike him.
No. But today I got called. What was it I was told today? Oh, common sense conservative. I'm an adult man chastising a child. I should have saved that for the peanut gallery, but it's like I told him. You want to big with the big boys, then you're going to have to talk with the big boys.
Well, here's a Facebook regarding what we were talking about with dropping fuel prices. Just know if they have the power to lower fuel costs, drop interest rates, and decrease grocery prices now, they have had that power to lower them in the last 4 years. I can't forget it now, and I won't forget it in November. In other words, they feel like the Biden administration had left us twisting in the wind, Sean.
No, would they do that?
Well, first thing you got to have if you're going to run a country is competence. You got to actually know what you're doing. That helps. It does. One of the benefits to Trump is he spent his life in administration. You know what I'm saying? He knows how to operate big business, administer big business, and manage people. So, I mean, it's just going from private sector to government sector. That's all.
And this is the point I tried to bring up to the shell over at the DNC, Harry Sisson. Trump has always ran things like a business. That's what he's been successful at. And he ran the United States like the same. And a lot of things were actually happening. I think a few people in Washington didn't like it, and that's why they went after this man like they had.
All right, so we were just talking about the Federal Register on the apprenticeship program, and I come across this article: rural highway road worker struck and killed on rural highway by 18-year-old driving semi-truck.
See, I'm not totally still for all that. I know it can happen. I know it can happen to anybody. I don't care who you are, whether you're 21 or you're 71. An accident can happen to anybody. But I'm just not fully convinced of the 18-year-olds going interstate.
That 18-year-old ain't going nowhere now.
Well, I feel bad for the man, but because technically he is a man now. But I'm just not all for the under 21 going interstate.
Yeah, that one didn't necessarily say if he was interstate, or what. Happened in Missouri. But I don't know, man. I'm not against having 18, 19, and 20-year-olds drive trucks. But, you know, in an apprenticeship sort of fashion where they're teaming or something like that, I'm not against it. But that is unfortunate. I don't know what may have happened there, but there comes a concern about it. What you're getting at here is maturity levels. Are 18-year-olds today mature enough to handle the responsibilities of driving a big truck? And And sometimes you see some that really are. Some of them are brilliant, but then you see, these guys out there that the only thing they're good at is sitting around playing video games. I mean,
Well, I mean, when I first started out, I was what 22, and they kept me around Indianapolis for a long time. I think for about 3 or 4 months, that's all I did. And then they sent me to Ohio one night for a grocery load. But the catch of it was I had somebody in another truck that I followed over and followed back from Dayton, Ohio, back to Indianapolis. And back then we didn't have cell phones. So all we had was radios or you used your lights.
did you have more than 23 channels on your radio?
Actually, I did.
Yeah, I think the 40 channels came out in the 1980s, didn't they?
Late 80s.
Late 80s?
I believe in the late 80s they did. I know when I was growing up, they were only 23.
1970s they were, that's for sure. 1977. Let's see.
Huh.
Yep. 1970. Originally, the U.S. had 23 CB channels. A 40-channel band plan was implemented in 1977. Two more channels between 22 and 23, commonly referred to as 22A and 22B, were available. In other words, they split it.
Right.
We've seen that. Sidebands.
Yeah, because I remember, well, one CB I had, oh, God, this will take some people back. The one I had in the shop was actually a tube type. It was made by Lafayette, and you had to dial in your channel. It actually had a dial just like on your old style TV. You had to dial it in.
That
You
was
just
called a
didn't flip the
fine
switch.
tuner.
That's exactly what it was. There was an upper and lower level, and then it had a conversion on the back of it. You could plug it into your wall, or you could plug it into a for a cigarette or for a battery.
So,
Plus, you had to buy your own crystals, or actually, they weren't crystals. They were more. They looked like a fuse box, a miniature fuse box you put in your car. But you had to buy those exclusively from Lafayette to talk on that channel.
yeah, they did have CBs with crystals originally, the 23 channels CBs. It's kind of funny because you can feel it. When you turn the channel, it was kind of like a little tough. It would be like click, 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 and you did not want to spin it. If you spin it, you could chance losing crystals and shit, ruining your shit. But these CBs nowadays they put out, man, you reach up there and grab them, they just spin so easy. There's almost nothing there.
They do. I just had to buy a new one last week. They're a lot easier than what I remember.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Of course, if you remember right, John. If you remember right, John, you weren't cool unless you had a Johnson CB.
No, I don't remember that. I remember my father had a Midland and what was the other one?
Midland, Johnson, and there was a couple other ones out there.
I can't remember what the other one. They're both good radios.
And then Radio Shack had one.
I was a kid and I wanted to use a CB radio, which I wasn't supposed to be touching. And like a dumbass, I wired them into an outlet and plugged them in. They sparked up. Give that nice. How'd they put that in that movie, Christmas Story? That whiff of ozone in the air. And oh man, I unplugged it. I yanked apart the wiring and I put it back on the shelf. And I heard my father driving down the road in the car. He says to my mother, he says, that Midland used to be a damn good radio, but it doesn't work anymore. I don't know whatever happened to it. I just kept my mouth shut. My father, he had a hard slap. He got pissed. He got it good. But we had him running for a while. I guess he was the other one that I can't remember the name of it now. We had that one.
Radio.
I figured out how to wire it. So when I wired it all up and stuff and got it together, we were in the back of the house sitting there running the CB radios, irritating the shit out of truck drivers. I remember old Red Fox was out there somewhere in Port Orange, Florida. You little fuckers on the CB radio. You need to get off there. Get off your daddy's box. I'm going to find you, you little bastard. And when I do, it's going to be your ass. One time I kid you not, we came out of the convenience store. My friend Eddie and I, we went and got some sodas. We came out of the convenience store and there was a Peterbilt sitting in the parking lot. And I heard, "Hey kid, come here." And I turned and looked. My friend goes walking over there so innocently. And he got the scared look on his face when he's walking up to me. I go, "What do you want?" He goes, he wanted to know if there's any kids around here playing with CB radios. He was looking for them.
Well, if you remember right, back in the 70s, they had that one woman. I can't remember her name right now. She used to talk on the radio every night.
I don't remember. I remember that one guy of Oklahoma about having no panties on. It turned out he was getting some serious skip. I don't know what he had for power. But
oh, man. No, don't get the panties started with Brandon now, because, you know, Brandon, he has a tendency to, well, he'll just let you know, thank God, because then I think you're queer. Oh, that's right. We can't say that.
A dude out there ain't got no panties on. Come on. That's exactly what it was. It was a good buddy statement.
Of course, then in Memphis, you had the guy always advertising for smoke.
I don't remember that one.
Oh, yeah.
That one
right there in West Memphis, Arkansas.
Oh, how'd that go? I done had my bath. I got my little red dress on, or I got my little nightgown on, and I'm ready for bed. We used to think that was funny, right? You know, the gay references and stuff. It was like, because it was so absurd to us, it was funny. And then I'm on social media, and these guys are admitting to homosexual relationships nowadays so often. It's like, oh, it's not funny anymore, man.
Well, I look at it this way: to each their own. Just don't be pushing it on me. So, we got a couple minutes left, John. Should we tell everybody about next week's show?
Why not?
So next week is going to be a little different. We've never done this before. We are going to have the night of the charities. We will have 3 different charities coming on. They will express what each charity does. And if you wish to donate at that time, you may do so. I'd like everybody to keep in mind the TIBN will not be handling this money. We have nothing to do with that part. We are just simply giving 3 very well-known and very respectable charities a chance to come on and explain what they do for everybody.
Now, I'm not above handling money, but the money I handle is the money I work hard for.
There you go. So I just want to make that very clear. We have never asked for it, nor have we ever handled it for somebody else. No, and we're not going to start
directly.
But I've got schedule coming on. I've got Hoover coming on. Hoover is actually, if you remember right, John, they were on once before. They actually helped for the veterans. Squirrel will be on next week talking about 32 truckers and what they do with mental health. And I have to make a phone call to one more person to see if they're willing. I have yet to get back with them yet.
So, Sean, are you not only a promoter, but also a client?
Actually, define client.
I was to make an attempt to be a wise ass, but
yes, I know. That's why I'm saying define client. John, I already know I got a mental health issue. I just bought a new truck.
We all do, dude. We got to be crazy to drive trucks. But
I just bought a new one.
Well, this is true. You did. But on a serious note,
I don't know. Did you download the picture?
I didn't download it, but I saw it.
Oh, okay.
What do you think I was going to do? Print it off and stick it on my wall? I mean,
well, you know, you could drool all over it. It is a Kenworth Studio.
Yeah, it's a Kenworth, but it's an automatic, Sean.
Well, you know, I kind of brought that up to the salesman. I was like, I kept looking at the floorboard, and I looked at him, and he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "There's just something missing right here."
Kind of knew what
Oh,
you were
that's
talking
right.
about.
Yeah, he just kind of, well, it's automatic. I said, save it, dude.
It's really going to save your knee a lot of work, you know.
I heard that speech too, and I was like, yeah, okay.
So I drive an
But
automatic. It's not a
but
big
as my
deal, as in my hand automatically goes over and starts shifting gears.
but as my friend from Texas says, I'll love it, but I'll hate it.
I'd driven them before and I never got to liking them. My hand commonly falls through the ears. I'm reaching for a gear selector. My foot commonly falls through the ears. I'm reaching for a clutch. Um, I just can't get used to the damn things. I don't like the way they shift. And when you're trying to back up to a dock and you're about 2 inches, 3, 4 inches off the dock and it won't go anymore, and you got to give it fuel for it to go the rest of the way to bump the dock. And now it just rams the shit out of the dock.
My
I don't want to do
understanding
that.
is my understanding is with the new trucks, they've actually got the automatics where they won't do that anymore. So we're gonna find out.
Well, it'll be about damn time.
And we're gonna find out after next week because this will be my last run with old 92. So
Oh,
she's going to be retired.
Sean just
Be
drives
doing
until the
city
wheels
work.
fall off.
Well, John, you got to admit, I mean, I got 2 million miles on the bottom end. I think I got my money out of it.
Yeah, I think so.
It's been a good truck. And
Just remember,
of
Sean,
course,
there's guys out there running 1975 Peterbilt 359, 359 Peterbilts.
the I mean, all I can say is we'll see what the difference is between Cat and Cummins now. Don't look at me in that tone of
You're
voice.
getting a Cummins, huh?
X15.
Oh, I'd be interested to see what that engine does for you. I like the N14. That was the last one I owned, was an M14 Cummins. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love that motor. Seemed
N14 was a good
indestructible to me.
motor, good engine.
That was a great motor.
It was a little durable engine too.
Yeah, it was. Especially if
That
you
was
had that
definitely a
red top.
workhorse.
You had that red top, you had something.
So, but yes, the N14 was definitely a workhorse engine for Cummins.
Uh-huh. I mean,
About
the
like
big
the
cams
Series,
and stuff were good, but that M14 was a world of difference.
and then you had the Series 60 12.7s. Those were a good little workhorse engine.
Yeah, that was Detroit's saving grace. Detroit couldn't make a motor to save their neck until that one come out, and all of a sudden
And
now
then
they were they were redeemed. It was like I didn't think it was great or anything. I've driven a few, but I didn't really get to know them. But it's to my
it was a good
understanding, most
engine.
people say you either liked them or you didn't.
No, to me, it was a good engine. The 12.7, the 14 liter
Yeah.
was junk. But the 12.7, actually, I did like it. And of course, I started out in Detroit. So it was a big step from a V6 92. It really was.
Well,
At
yeah,
least I didn't have to.
you didn't have to
Well,
sit
at
on the
least
side
I
of the
didn't.
road trying to rebuild your motor all the time.
Well, not only that, I'd have to carry a 5 gallon a bucket water, 5 gallon bucket just so I changed my own oil. But
Yeah.
that was the sad part about the V6s. They would drink oil. So, but anyway, that's what we got going on for next week, John.
Awesome. Well, it's
And hopefully
8:05.
the
Sean.
ladies will, hopefully the ladies will be back with us next week.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when you have four people here and all of a sudden it's down to two of you. It's different,
Well,
but
I
we
mean,
pulled it off.
again, again next week we'll have the ladies back, and I'm sure they'll have a few things to say.
I'm thinking of all these smart ass things I can be saying right now. After you said that.
John,
Oh, I'm gonna behave.
Okay. You know it'll come back to bite us. Especially the one from Nebraska.
Oh yeah, she feisty.
So, with that being said, don't forget Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can catch John with Bad Billy on Patriot Confederation. Wednesday night, you can catch John with Todd and Chris on the Common Sense Conservative. And we'll be back next Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern.
Awesome. So that's our bit tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you got something out of it. Keep the greasy side down, the shiny side up in between the lines. Safe travels wherever it is you may be going. And as always, be good. If you can't be good, we'll be good at it. And we gone.